about to leave beautiful Chateau Belair. It's been a bit of a rolly anchorage, but not too bad. And we are heading out there to St. Lucia in a little while. Rodney Bay Marina, Saint Lucia.
My baby, I like you. My baby, I die for you. See you, see you. My baby, I ride with you. My baby, I don't cover that, I die for you. I pray to the Lord.
Before I show you my passage to St. Lucia, let me share with you a couple of memories from one of my times in Saint Vincent, this time back in 2019 with Keithy. I first met Keith, or Keithy, as he's affectionately known, because of an appearance he made on a La Vagabond episode when Riley was single-handed sailing from Tonga to New Zealand, and he had satellite phone problems and hadn't contacted anyone for a few days, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Keith had contact with Riley via VHF and was relaying messages back to New Zealand, which meant he could let Elena and family know he was safe. It was apparent how important this was to Riley when he arrived in New Zealand. In true Riley fashion, and with a big cheesy grin, he greeted Keith as Keithy, and they reminisced about his ordeal at sea and how grateful he was to Keith for his help. Anyway, I first met Keith and Tanya in Grenada in 2018, where we quickly became friends. We hung out from time to time in different countries, sharing small adventures along the way. Here in Blue Lagoon, Saint Vincent, we took a dinghy ride to this cool little island, Fort Duvernay, which is right next door to Young Island. It's quite a climb up the steep stairs to the top, but it's worth it. The 360 views are incredible. Apparently it was built in the 1790s, and it's also known as Rockfort, and towers over Kaliakou Bay and Indian Bay. The fort was built to protect the colonial hub where sugar was loaded onto ships bound for English ports. The British apparently had good reason for building a fort here. It was at Kaliakou Bay that the French launched their invasion of Saint Vincent in 1783. The ships were English built and not flying French colours. They regretted this soon after when the French landed and took control of the island, and many plantation owners assumed they were merchant ships and refused any suggestion of attacking them. There are many mysteries surrounding Fort Duvernay, which you can try to answer while exploring the site. Why does it have a French name but British cannon? Who built the stairs up the top of the fort? And how did they get the cannon all the way to the top?
Keith's all wet here, he's been for a swim.
Again, another
rescuing
phone.
Things. He's a little bit wet.
My phone
iPad case. It's come loose. The phone was in there, but quick reflexes, he had a dive and managed to grab it.
Saint Vincent is a cool island, and if you get off the boat and explore, there's plenty to see, even locally around the anchorage.
That's a bit of serious rain out there.
One day, like a tidal wave, a hurricane, like a thunderstorm, the pouring rain, it comes rolling in. And right away, oh, it hits you like a ton of lead. Oh yeah, it'll mess with your head. You won't know where to begin. You can't keep up, you fall behind. You lost your aim, can't clear your mind.
And the sun sets.
Like a fire burning wild, a freight train you can't stop. Like a nightmare, but this time you don't wanna wake up. It pulls you in, it takes over, you just can't let go of the worst, best thing that's ever happened to you. No way, this is real. No
As I say, if you get off the boat and explore, there's plenty to see. So on this day, Keith and I did a day trip to the north of the island to visit Mount Soufriere.
it'll stay and hit your harder.
And we could have hired a car, of course, but we decided to do as the locals do and take a maxi taxi. It's a shared form of transport that's very popular with the locals. That in itself is a fun thing to do. You get to experience life as locals. They played loud, soca music generally speaking, sometimes a little bit too loud.
Can clear your mind.
But anyway, it's still a fun thing to do.
Like a fire burning wild, a freight train you can't stop. Like a nightmare, but this time you don't wanna wake up. Pulls you in, it takes over, you just can't let go of the worst, best thing well, that's ever happened to you.
The scenery along the coast here, which is the Atlantic side of the island, the windward side of the island, is breathtaking.
You fall behind. You lost your aim, can clear your mind. Like a fire burning wild, a freight train you can't stop. Like a nightmare, but this time you don't wanna wake up. Like a fire burning wild, a freight train you can't stop. Like a nightmare, but this time you don't wanna wake up. It pulls you in, it takes over, you just can't let go of the worst, best thing that's ever happened to you.
Before its eruption in 2021, which devastated the surrounding area and adversely affected thousands of locals, the hike to the summit of Soufriere volcano on Saint Vincent in 2019 was a popular and rewarding adventure for nature lovers and trekkers alike. The volcano, which stands at 1,234 metres or 4,049 feet, is the highest point on the island and lies within a lush, protected national park. Typically starting from Rebecca on the windward or eastern side, the trail ascended through tropical rainforest and eventually into the beautiful, magnificent, imposing, rocky but surprisingly lush summit crater. The hike takes about 4 to 5 hours round trip depending on pace and weather, and was moderately strenuous. Along the way, hikers encountered steep inclines, cooling mists, and panoramic views of the island and Caribbean Sea. At the summit, hikers could peer into the massive crater, often filled with fog and the scent of sulphur, a reminder of the volcano's volatile nature. Despite its last eruption being in 1979, prior to the 2021 eruption obviously, the hike felt otherworldly and peaceful, an unforgettable journey through a dramatic and dynamic landscape. As this unfolded, I was already back in Australia. Monastrell was trapped in Trinidad as the COVID restrictions had already been put in place. I was made aware of this catastrophic event as the eruption of Soufriere became worldwide news on television.
Now, the Caribbean island of Saint Vincent has been rocked by a huge explosion as the Soufriere volcano fired a plume of ash and hot gas into the skies.
In the danger zone, the sky was turned into night by the ash in a matter of minutes.
It's not the same.
Officials said it was destroying everything in its path, amid fears for the safety of some residents who have refused to obey orders to evacuate. The series of volcanic explosions over the last few days have disrupted food and fresh water supplies, wiping out forests and farmland.
Cover every inch of my pain.
Huge, thick plumes of smoke and dust were sent shooting several kilometres into the air as La Soufriere unleashed its incredible explosive power.
The UN has warned of a growing humanitarian crisis on the eastern Caribbean island of Saint Vincent as ongoing volcanic eruptions displace about a fifth of the population. Between 16 to 20,000 people were evacuated from their homes under government orders before La Suffriere volcano first erupted on Friday.
I hereby order as follows. 1. The evacuation of all premises in the areas designated as the red zone on the northeast and northwest of Saint Vincent.
I don't like to say never, but there's a good chance that I'll never climb La Soufriere again. So these will be my lasting memories, lasting and special memories of a really great day climbing just such a magnificent piece of nature, which is impressive and imposing. Not many people get to climb a volcano. I do understand that, and it is a pretty special occasion. I'm sure it would be interesting to visit Soufriere in her. That's funny. I have this urge to call a volcano her. Let's call her her. Let's call it her. Yes, as I say, it would be probably very interesting to see her in her current state. However, I think I would rather hold on to these memories. It's like most things, once something's changed significantly, or in this case dramatically, sometimes it's a regretful thing to visit a special place after it's been altered almost beyond recognition. So I feel privileged to have had this experience and to have such a special memory. It was a very, very cool day, and thanks to Keith, thanks to Keithy for sharing it.
Okay. Leaving beautiful Chateau Belair. That was a nice night. We may have a little bit of a race happening here, but not really at the same time. Let's dig me out. He's definitely in cruiser mode. I think I can hear it. He's got his engine running. I think I can hear his engine running. I'm in passage mode. Dinghy on the deck, both sails out. It's a bit fickle in here to begin with, but it won't take long and we'll be in some breeze. Should be nice and calm, the first little bit. And there's the volcano, Soufriere. It's gusty in here.
Look at the water running down along the deck. Sorry about the hand, I'm trying to protect the camera.
It's 28 knots now.
You have a couple of boats up ahead here, a catamaran with sails out, but not all its sails out, and then another one over here, and they look as though they're in a little bit of bother. Looks like a charter boat.
Anyway, put the camera away. Yeah, it's pretty full on.
Speaking of full on, look at the boat pitching here. It slows it down significantly.
Still pretty full on. It's been wild at times. We're heading the 8 knots. And we're pacing this catamaran here. He's really made no ground on us. And there's Saint Vincent. There's Saint Vincent. Recording this, because I'm not sure whether I got it on video before, but it's still pretty full on. Probably got about 25 plus knots. We had 33 knots as we were leaving Saint Vincent. It was crazy. It started off just really nice and then whack, it hit. And I had way too much sail out, so that was challenging. Getting the sails away, really challenging. We're hitting the 8 knots consistently. Well, when I say consistently, let's call it 7 to 8 knots, 7.5 to 8 knots, pretty consistently. We're making ground on one boat up here, and then we're pacing but I might even be making a little bit of ground on this one. But he's certainly not going any quicker. Anyway, let's hope everything goes okay. And again, I'm sure you can't
Well, time's up, guys. Let's call this part 1 and join me next time for part 2 of this awesome passage.
Whoa!
Thanks for watching.